While searching for the most beautiful deer in the Philippines, we came across the rarest pig species in the whole world. After losing the forests in Negros Island, these animals are at risk of disappearing forever. That's why I went to this 300-hectare forest to find them and document them in the wild.
Kapag nakita ko yung Visayan Spotted Deer, ipapatato ko sila dito.
This time, will we be lucky enough to find the Visayan Spotted Deer?
So, throughout this trip, lahat sila nagsasabi na super small chance lang na makita ko yung Visayan Spotted Deer. As in, kailangan ko mag-spend ng at least 3 months dito. Pero randomly, habang naglalakad kami from dinner, going back here dito sa bahay, nakakita kami ng dalawang Visayan Spotted Deer. And the moment na nakita namin sila, tinry ko mag-take ng video pero umalis na agad sila. So, ganun sila kailap sa tao. And before the night ends, we decided to go out one last time to explore and to find the deer using a night vision camera. That's yours?
Yeah. I use it for work back home in the UK.
Joe is based in the UK and is currently volunteering here in Bayawan Forest. And I noticed that he moves really fast within the jungle while making very minimal noise.
And surprisingly, nakita ulit namin yung dalawang deer. So, nag-flash kami ng light and nakita namin nagsashine yung mga mata nila. Pero after nun, nawala na ulit sila. But today is a new day.
So that morning, I took the time to go with the forest rangers to feed the animals in the enclosures.
We started with the confiscated animals that has been surrendered, and the founders decided to take care of them. And now we're this. We've been bringing them back into the wild, and that didn't happen overnight. That happened over decades of work.
Talarak Foundation was established in 2010 and is dedicated to conserving and restoring the native wildlife of Negros Island in the West Visayas region of the Philippines.
Meron palang tinatawag na ex-situ conservation strategy, yung Talarak Foundation. Now, ex-situ means that you're trying to conserve plants or animals outside of their immediate homes.
So the first step is the captive breeding at Negros Forest Park. There, the foundation maintains a captive breeding program for some of the most endangered and endemic species to the region.
Especially for the big five, so that's the Visayan Spotted Deer, Visayan Terrictic Hornbill, Negros Bleeding Heart Dove, Visayan Warty Pig, and the Rufous-headed Hornbill.
And the goal there is to breed these animals until their populations are robust enough to support reintroduction to the wild.
The nature reserve is where we release the animals that we've bred in captivity in Negros Forest Park. All the progeny of those animals there, we bring here, especially for the big five.
So in Bayawan, the foundation monitors the released animals using tracking devices and remote camera traps to ensure their survival and gather important data about their behaviors and their interactions within that ecosystem. And before they finally release them into the wild, they keep them in large enclosures for further nurturing and monitoring, like these Visayan Warty Pigs right here.
Okay, tapos na tayo sa mga side quests natin, which were feeding the animals. Nakakatuwa kasi umuulan na yun, tapos syempre kailangan ko sumilong. Tumambay lang ako for a few minutes. Paglingon ko, may dalawang Visayan Terrictic Hornbill.
Wala sila sa cage.
And wala sila sa enclosure, as in nasa puno lang sila. Sobrang ganda nila tignan, especially kapag nasa wild and nasa natural habitat sila.
They are considered fruit specialists because their main diet consists of fruit. After they feast, they then spread the seeds of the fruits that they eat, which can help regenerate the forest and maintain the biodiversity of their habitats. This process is important for the growth of new plants and trees, which in turn sustains the forest ecosystem that the hornbills rely on. And that's also true for the wild pigs and the deer. That's why they are very important to nature.
Pero yung pinaka kinagulat ko is when I went deeper inside the forest, nakakita tayo ng mga Negros bleeding heart. So yung mga ibon na to, critically endangered sila. So sila yung mga pinaka at risk na maging extinct. So how does it feel to be, kumbaga you're in charge of an entire species? Nakaka-pressure ba siya?
You hold basically seeds from which you can start another population. You know, it's a big responsibility. Keeping them alive is one thing. Having a viable population activity in captivity is a whole nother thing.
So ayun, after ng quick birding session natin, let's go back to our main mission, which is to find the Visayan Warty Pigs and the Visayan Spotted Deer. So tara!
May way ba na makaalis sila dito sa forest na to, tong reserve?
Wala. Kasi the entire reserve is fenced. All 300 hectares.
Okay. So before lunchtime, Justin brought me deep within the forest to camp and wait for the pigs and the deer to pass by, taking into consideration footprints, animal poop, and other signs that they are close by, like the deer scratching their antlers on the wood.
Grabe yung langgam.
So after he left me there, I just kept still and quiet, and I started to think, why are these animals really endangered and what destroyed the forest in Negros?
Mga 1800s siguro, 1900s that time. Negros was running at around 90 to 95% forest cover. Now we're at around 10.
10%
Yeah.
from 90 to 95?
Yeah.
According to the research, the fertile volcanic soil in Negros created ideal conditions for sugarcane plantation. And the sugar industry in Negros has been thriving even before the Spaniards came and was further developed under their rule. And by the late 1800s, the influx of hacienderos led to the rapid land conversion from forests to agriculture, making Negros the sugar capital of the Philippines by the early 1900s. And the industry continued to expand during the American rule, which further solidified the reputation of Negros as the country's leading sugar production region. So it was really the conversion from forest to agriculture, but something else happened along the way. Meanwhile, after staying still and changing my location a few times, no pigs or deer appeared.
Okay, so medyo failed attempt yung ating paghahanap today. And magla-lunch time na. So tara, pahinga muna tayo, kain muna tayo.
If you look at the data, it's really us humans that are causing the deforestation, the habitat loss. We wanted more and we consumed more, and as the population grew, the forests slowly deteriorated. So for my next attempt at looking for the pig and the deer, they suggested that I go into a part of the forest that's wet, grassy, and full of biodiversity, the marsh. This time, I'm gonna try to go deeper within the forest, and I'm gonna do it alone, so I need to be prepared.
Hey Joe, can you hear me?
Joe? Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
This is my last chance to find the deer and the pigs. So I'm gonna go off on a quick adventure to the marshlands. And they even gave me this one. because I think they are concerned that I might get lost. Oh my god. So I'm guessing they use this as a hiding spot to film the pigs. They told me that some filmmakers from Germany recently stayed in this forest for more than a month, and during that time, they didn't see any wild pigs or deer.
So how sure am I really that I can find them in just a few days?
Bakit biglang nag-decline yung population ng Warty Pig dito sa Negros?
Essentially, the biggest threat to them was deforestation. This was facilitated by the logging concessions that were present in Negros during around the 80s.
Now, after the sugar boom, the Insular Lumber Company, or ILCO, came into the picture.
The largest sawmill outside of the US was here in Negros Island. It was in Hinubaan, Sipalay area. ILCO, ILCO.
So, ILCO was granted a concession by the American government in the early 1900s, and they aggressively logged the forest of the northern part of Negros for hardwood export. So aside from the wood exports, the sugar boom also increased the demand for this commodity because of the infrastructure that they had to build, like the sugar mills, warehouses, railways, and bridges to transport all that sugarcane, along with wooden houses and barracks and other structures for the workers and the hacienderos. And all of that was mostly supplied by ILCO. So together, those two industries created a negative feedback loop that led to the widespread destruction of the forest. So after spending hours in the marshlands, wala pa rin. But before sunset, one of the forest volunteers took me to a place where she used to find the pigs playing around in the mud. So that was my last full day during this trip. So I knew I had to forge on and keep moving forward kahit na pagod na ako at that point.
Angela has been doing volunteer work here for more than 5 months already, and I can see how much she enjoys being out there in the field, out in nature. And she told me that a random set of events led her to this world of conservation.
So come to think of it, this world of conservation never really existed years back. Not many people cared about preserving nature because nature was still there. And now that we're starting to see the effects of our greed, we then slowly start to take action towards reversing that damage. And after spending another 2 hours trekking and waiting and camping, unfortunately, wala pa rin talaga. So we called it a day and we went back to the headquarters until something peculiar was walking around the pavement. That time, I was prepared. So when I went closer, nakita niya ako and it got very cautious. He never took his eyes off me and he really kept his distance. He circled around me and I just kept filming. He would walk a few steps and suddenly stop and look around, and he did this consistently. That time, I remember a huge weight coming off my shoulder because finally, after hours of trekking and camping and waiting, I was able to document the rarest pig species in the world, the Visayan Warty Pig. I knew for a fact that I had pretty unrealistic expectations. But suddenly, life surprises you. And when you start to trust in life, it sometimes gives you more than what you think is possible.
The shame of it.
So I hope you guys like part 2 of this series, and the last one will be posted next week. So I hope I can still see you guys there, and join me as we travel the Philippines with purpose. Maraming salamat, and paalam.
Like to feel the shame of it. Why would you leave?